Happy Thanksgiving, everybody out there, all you First Bet and Xpressbet customers, all you loyal Horse Sense viewers, and hopefully many of you watching the show for the first time. It is a big week at Xpressbet and First Bet. It's Turkey Bowl week, and we've got such a big week. We're going to bring on our main man, Jeremy Plonk, to handicap the Turkey Bowl races with us. We'll do it a little bit differently than just kind of discussing them, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. Horse Sense, it's up next.
Welcome back to another episode of Horse Sense, and happy Thanksgiving to those of you out there watching from wherever you are. I'm joined alongside the wonderful Thanksgiving enthusiast himself, Scott Shapiro, and of course, I'm Bailey Armour, and we'll be joined in just a little bit by Jeremy Plonk, as Scott already mentioned, to go over some of these Thanksgiving week races, and that's all focused around our biggest promotion of the week. It's the return of the $10,000 Turkey Bowl, our Thanksgiving contest. So the way that works, there are 24 eligible races in the contest running from Thanksgiving Day all the way through Sunday at a lot of different tracks. It's all stakes races. And when you hit 10 $10 win bets on 10 of those 24 races, then you'll automatically win your share of $10,000 in bonus cash. So it's a little bit like an exactathon with that prize pool, but minus all the exactas, it's just win bets this time, and a little bit like a tournament, but not quite being a tournament. Kind of the best of both worlds there, and something that we really like to do every year here at Xpressbet and FirstBet. So that'll be our focus. And then to run alongside some of those, every day Thanksgiving week from Thursday through Sunday will be a set of 4 1 million first rewards points hit and splits. The full calendar of those tracks, that'll be the late pick 4 every day at select tracks, is up on the promotions page now. And then to round out the weekend on Saturday, Gulfstream has the last of their Florida Sire Stakes races. Those 2 races will come with a $10 money back special if you finish second or third. Those Florida Sire races are also in the Turkey Bowl, so make sure you take an extra look at those because it's kind of a double promotion series of races there. And then it is Japan Cup a day over there, I guess, but night over here, starting on Saturday evening. So that card will come with a $10 bonus when you bet $50 or more as well. Okay, promotional spiel done. And I'll kick it over to you, Scott. Anything else that the people need to know?
Well, a lot of people will be feeding on turkey and stuffing and potatoes and all that stuff this weekend. But you can also feed on feeders. Lots of feeders getting started for some of the bigger tournaments coming up, either towards the end of the year, beating the Santa Anita Opening Day Challenge, the Cigar Mile big tournament, as well, feeders for that. And then, of course, the biggest of them comes, I think it's a $6,000 Pegasus World Cup Challenge, and that we'll start feeders for that on Thursday with the start of the championship meet. So lots going on the tournament side, but not, kind of getting ourselves started again for a big run into these bigger tournaments. So plenty of time to get into those tournaments. And looking forward to talking some Turkey Bowl. Well, it's good to have our man Jeremy Plonk back. We stole him from the Players era. He's locked in. He's trying to help us decipher the tournament, and we were able to pull him away. He loves his college hoops, but we pulled him away. So it's good to have you back, JP, on the show. Obviously, we talk all the time, but happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. It's a road game for me being on your show, so I had to wear the road white jersey.
I guess I didn't get the memo.
When I ordered those, I only ordered the men on our team that got the merch, the white polo. So I don't even have one. I have a different jacket instead. So I'm supporting.
You're always at home.
You're always at home.
The white polo for me.
You never have to travel. Good for you.
No, it's always a home game.
Well, Bailey introduced the Turkey Bowl guys out there, and great promotion. Of course, $10 win bets. You got to hit 10 of them over the 24 races. Not a lot of real strategy. I mean, because of the fact that there's so many races, you just kind of have to be out for yourself, I'd say. Whether there's 15 long shots that win, there's still probably 9 favorites. So I don't think there's a whole lot of strategy. You guys can interrupt me or mention if you think there is when we go through your races. But we're just going to we each took a track. The ones that we don't cover, we're going to have coverage for on the FirstBet and Xpressbet blogs. But Bailey's stationed down in New Orleans, getting ready early for Mardi Gras. JP had enough of the weather here. We're getting some rain, so he shipped out to Delmar for the holiday. And similar here, I'm going to support the home team, shipping down a little bit of a shorter trip to Florida. And then the other races, as I mentioned, we'll be covering. But so Bailey mentioned it, 24 races. Starts on Thursday, which is tomorrow. We're filming this on Wednesday. Churchill Downs has a couple of, their races that they always have on Thanksgiving. Jeremy covered those on the blog in the Fall City and the Cardinal. And the Thanksgiving Classic down in New Orleans, Bailey. That is obviously on Thanksgiving, a staple down there. And I know you're going to use one of your win bets on someone in that race. Who do you like?
Yeah, my win bet in that race is the number 3 Wendelson. He's 8-1 right now for Chris Hartman and Marcelino Pedroza Jr. And the thing that drew me the most to him is his extremely consistent bounce pattern. I mean, this horse is, just take a look at his Brisnet speed figure pattern for the past couple races: 84, 102, 97, 101, and last out was a 90. So he's primed for another triple digit speed figure today. This is his best distance to 6 furlong, depending on kind of what he wins at. And everything in his historical pattern means that this is going to be his day in the Thanksgiving Classic. And he's 8-1 on the morning line. So that's going to help you make some money outside of the counting towards the total. But then if this is one that you can get right, when a lot of other people might take a shorter price, that's how I'm taking a look at it.
Yeah, is that something that there are horses like that. You hear them called every other races or ping pongs or what did you call it? You had a name
I think
for
I called him a bounce, but I've also heard people say yo-yo as well.
Coming off a bounce more would be, I guess, the way you're kind of thinking. Yeah, yo-yo would work. But is that something that makes sense from a physical standpoint, or is that more of a mental thing? You know horses better than JP and I, or better than me. JP knows them all. So
JP knows more than we do combined.
Absolutely.
But from a horseman's perspective, a little bit physical and a little bit mental. Like, horses don't think about competition the same way that we do, obviously, but sometimes they just kind of in their fitness cycle and their effort cycle, sometimes you just have horses like this that don't put up like 2 or 3 back-to-back monster ones. They have a really good one and then a good one and then a really good one and then a good one. And this is a perfect example of a horse like that. And maybe I have a bias against horses like that because I like to see that when they do that. So if there's a horse that has a pretty consistent pattern of doing that in the race, I'm automatically going to be drawn to him.
Well, it's a great angle from my perspective. I've only, I've used it, but from a physicality perspective or knowing the animal, I never knew, things like that. I don't have the knowledge. So good information there. Fairgrounds Thanksgiving Classic, part of a real good card down there in New Orleans. I know some good allowance races. I think the card came out pretty good for their big Thanksgiving card. I'm going to talk about the Thanksgiving card down in Hallandale Beach, where the Wait a While is the feature. It's the opening day. Thanksgiving card is the start of the championship meet. So we really get things going. Cards picking up and are strong. And I like the one in here, Amber Glenn. This is a daughter of Night Thunder that goes right to Gulfstream after the maiden win on debut for trainer Brad Cox. Debuted at Keeneland, took a lot of money. No surprise there. 12-horse field, went off at 2-1. But what was most important or most impressive to me is this one was wide the entire race when the inside was the better place to be, as it usually is on the turf, and still was able to overcome that on debut. You just don't see the kind of trip that this filly had turn into a winning one. Now she moves down on the inside. You want to be very leery of playing horses to the far outside in these short two-turn race, short run to the first turn, 2-turn races at Gulfstream. So I like that inside draw. So I like Amber Glenn here in the Wait a While. Doubt we're going to get too good of a price. Let's see if the morning line is up on that yet. One moment, please. Great radio, great TV. And the morning line is 8-1. Okay.
There you go.
We'll take it. Happy Thanksgiving, Scott. All right. That'll send us Thanksgiving cards end early. Actually, not a ton of Thanksgiving. So you want to get your action in early. You want to ignore your family early. Spend time with them late because the action, no West Coast action. But JP will be calling on you very soon as we head to Black Friday, where Bailey might be out shopping because Fairgrounds is not running any races. JP and I will be grinding the sports and racing. Churchill's got a couple of races. Frank Carulli will be covering them, the Mrs. Revere and the big one, the Clark on the blog, both blogs, of course. But JP, the first of the big races for the Hollywood Turf Festival, used to be at Hollywood, now at Delmar for obvious reasons. And I know you have opinion in there in race 7, the Hollywood Turf Cup.
Yeah, I like the way you explain the Thanksgiving Day lineup of like kind of spacing out how much time you spend with your family, because there's only so much tolerance at some of these holiday events from
Bro,
a
I never
person
really.
have. So yeah, tuck yourself away, grab your phone, and watch a couple races on the big day on Thursday. As for Friday, the big one at Delmar, the Hollywood Turf Cup. I think the way I've got this written at the top of my page is he who sits second wins. It's a race where there's only one speed horse, Balladeer, in here, and he's lone speed, but he hasn't won a race since the Pilgrims drifted into a Plymouth Rock. I mean, it's been a long time for wins for him. So you kind of figure he sets the tone, and whoever just gets that first over trip move at a mile and a half where the pace should be kind of on the tepid side really has an advantage. I think Rostaman Vibe to 3 might be that one. This is a horse who's run 3 times at Delmar that you can see in the past performance lines. And in all 3 of those races was like 2 lengths off the lead. I know his most recent race was farther back, but Mark Glatt, the trainer, takes over off the claim. This is an interesting move for Glatt. Claiming a horse and then stepping into a stakes race. I found 7 of them in the BetMix database. All 7 landed in the super. 6 of the 7 were in the money. I think his horses are probably claim with intent, right? You know the schedule. You know the Hollywood Turf Cup's coming up. They dropped this horse in last time for 60. They went ahead and claimed for 50, got a little bit cheaper on the claim there, and went forward with him. Juan Hernandez stays and rides. I like to see a jockey after a claim stick aboard a horse because a lot of times you just see an automatic rider change off a claim, as the new barn goes ahead and gets their guy. And instead, they go back to the jock who knows this horse. And you get Juan Hernandez in Southern California, and that never hurts. So I think Rostaman Vibe can kind of sit second in here, take over Balladeer. And, of course, last year, Truly Quality won this race when he was in, rock solid form. He had won 3 of 4 coming into this race. He's not coming in with the same form this year. He's only run 2 times this year. Dull effort in the San Marcos back in February. That laid him up all the way to August. He did come back and run a pretty good race in the Delmar Handicap behind, the Delmar Handicap, just, cut and paste winner every year, Golden Phoenix, winning it 4 in a row. There wasn't a lot of pace help in that race, so he ran a better race for sure off the layoff than he did the first time starting in 2025. But I can't take a short price on Truly Quality, who hasn't won since winning this race last year in just the 2 starts. He'll be a shorter price than I want to take. So give me Rostaman Vibe, which I think will be a pretty fair number.
Man, I remember May 23rd, Truly Quality's second start. Needed him to close out a big pick 5 that day. Couldn't beat King Curlin, and look at him now. Disappointing stuff. He hung. I thought he was going to hang every race forever. But, yeah, I couldn't take a short price on him. But you bring up a good point. All the angles that you mentioned on the 3, Rostaman Vibe, your top pick. Been popular at the claim box and not for cheap, You mentioned the 60 and 50, 2 times. And, Steve Peter Yurton lost him to Steve Knappett, who had the same intent. Went to the John Henry, stretched out a little bit. There's not a major difference in the allowance races, at least if you're going to be a little bit of a price compared to some of the grade 2, grade 3s at some of these racetracks these days. So Rostaman Vibe for Jeremy in the lone opportunity on Friday at a stakes race out at Delmar, or a Turkey Bowl race for that matter. And there's a Gulfstream race on Friday. That's going to be, it's going to take 2 plays here basically. And I'm going to make my second play, another 2-year-old race. This one's for the boys. And this is a tough race. The Pulpit. I really struggled in here to get confident because what I wanted to find was a horse that was going to be able to settle and finish at 2 turns. And there just really isn't a lot of form. And the one that I think has the form will probably get overbet in number 6, Sunrise, who puts the blinkers on for Todd Pletcher, whose horses are just generally going to take more money than maybe they should. Does win a lot of races down there. But I went to Uncle Aldo, who has an inside trip. He popped the gate last time and made the lead and took advantage at Aqueduct when his first start on the turf. I thought he ran much better on the turf than he did over the all-weather, so maybe that surface switch plays a big role. It's got Joe Bravo on the inside. I don't necessarily think that Bravo in a race like this with some aggressive jocks and some speed horses is going to be hell-bent on the lead. So I'm going to hope that Uncle Aldo can settle and finish because I think he's got some pedigree to do so. But the Pulpit, you got 24 opportunities. I don't know if you're going to play 15 of the races. It's one of the more difficult ones. It would be great to get one under your belt, but I'm sure there's some easier races to pick through. But I thought the Pulpit was a pretty fun race down at Gulfstream on Friday, the Black Friday card down there. All right, I've talked a lot, so it's Saturday, and I'll be talking on the blog on Saturday about that great Stars of Tomorrow 2 car down there at Churchill. But let's get it back to Jeremy and then Bailey, because we've got races down in Southern California, and we've got a race, the Panzeretti, which I know Bailey is chomping at the bit to talk about. But I'm going to send it to you, JP. We've got 3 races at Delmar for you to choose from. The Grade 3 Jimmy Durante for the 2-year-olds. We got the Grade 2 Seabiscuit. And knowing you, Mr. Grade 1, I'm assuming you're going to go after the Grade 1, the Hollywood Derby.
And anything with Derby in the name of it draws me in. I don't care if it's a Assiniboia Downs. Give me the Manitoba Derby. It doesn't really matter. Put Derby in it, and I'm probably going to handicap it. And look, when you're talking about this Turkey Bowl promotion, right? We're trying to play for $10,000. You got to make $10 win bets. You got to hit 10 of them. You got to get a couple free spaces in there where you can find them. And I think we might have one in the Hollywood Derby because I think test score is just better than these. Graham Motion sent 11 horses out to Southern California to run in stakes this year. He's won with 5 of them, including this horse test score winning the Twilight Derby already. Could be a big weekend for Juan Hernandez. This horse is really also, 2 for 2 with the 1.25 mile distance. The 1.25 mile distance, a big question mark for some of these other horses in here. So I think from a win standpoint, test score, the obvious winner in here. A bit of note about the Hollywood Derby, expect Noble Confessor to scratch out of there because the FedEx flight, according to an article from Chelsea Hackbart that I read, FedEx flights are starting to be canceled and won't be going out to California the rest of the year with the holidays coming and won't resume until January. Same thing that kind of caught up Wise Dan last year, or Mystic Dan last year. If you remember, where he had the van from Fairgrounds out to run in the Malibu at Santa Anita. There won't be flights out to California anymore this year. And some of the horses that are out in California now don't have a flight back and are going to have to van back from where they are because of the FedEx changes. So Noble Confessor did not make the flight. It looks like the other horses from out of town did make their flights. So we'll probably lose Noble Confessor out of this race. But Graham Motion's still traveling out for the race. Mike Stidham's got one going out. And, of course, Chad Brown. Brown's had 4 wins in this Hollywood Derby over the years. He always sends a pretty good-looking horse out here. Salamis will be his runner in here as he looks to add a 5th Hollywood Derby. He makes sense, but he's been more of a miler, right? And now we go to the 1.25 miles. And you wonder with the first defense on the bottom of the pedigree, the Spikestown on the top. I'm not sure about 1.25 miles for that one. So Salamis probably has East Coast class that would trump a lot of these horses on the West Coast, I think, when you talk about the turf division. But I don't think he's got the class of test score. And test score has just been running in all the biggest 3-year-old turf races throughout the course of the season and really never missed fires. He's won over the track here at Delmar. He went out last year and ran in the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance race on the Breeders' Cup week on the undercard and won that. So we know he can handle, or ran second in that, beating the neck. We know he can handle Delmar. We know he can handle Traveling West, already doing it earlier this year in the Twilight Derby. So test score, take the free space in there, I think, from a Turkey Bowl standpoint. And exact the horse, maybe Maz comes right back 15-1, won second in the Twilight Derby for Michael McCarthy last time. I'm not sure that he's absolutely a 1.25 mile type either, but it was a pretty good finishing effort that time at 1 1/8 miles. And again, I just kind of prefer him over some of the others going long. So give me the 3-1 exact in the Hollywood Derby, but certainly in the Turkey Bowl situation, you might not get much of a price. Maybe you're looking at 3-5, 4-5 on test score. But again, you're trying to cross off one of those 10 winners that you need. And I think this is a good spot to take one.
Man, it's just disappointing that Salamis isn't how you say that name,
I know. I was going to say, I liked it better earlier this week when we were calling salamis. And I don't think I'll ever be able to read it not as salami.
Too responsible for this crowd. Too responsible.
As much as you're going to eat on Thursday, by the time Saturday comes around, you're not going to be thinking of salami. So you're all right.
Test score, definitely an honest animal. Usually when Graham Motion ships out west, he means business. So definitely an understandable use there. As like JP said, free squares, a term thrown around in racing, as much as they come, short price horses. Jeremy Plonk with test score. Not a bad option there. All right, we're going to head back down to New Orleans before we finish things off because we're going to send it to Bailey, who I know is very keen on the Panzeretti, not the Panzerotti, which is something. You know what a Panzerotti is, Bailey?
No, I have no idea. Please tell me.
JP?
Some kind of food.
Yeah, it's it's like a pizza turnover, but it's.
Yeah.
I think it must
like
be.
What's the word? Like a calzone?
I mean, kind of, but I think just a little more like, I mean, they've been around since. I remember Panzerati's being around here in the Philly area for my whole life, where calzones seem to be later stages. Am I wrong, Jeremy? Were calzones?
I don't know the history of calzones. I don't know.
I
I'm
don't
still thinking
remember
about
calzones as a
salami. I don't
kid.
know.
I don't know. Well, I know Bailey's not going to remember this because she wasn't born.
No.
I don't know, but Panzeratis are like, maybe they're just an East Coast way of saying. I mean, they're not the same as those things, but kind of the same idea, like a pizza sandwich. I haven't eaten a Panzerati in ages, and my body does not allow me to. But
Did they name the race after the horse or after the food?
no. Because Panzerati is one word: Panzaroti, I believe. So.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. When I googled the race name, it gave me this
Better have
dominant.
a good pick in here after I went on
Turkey.
and on and talked about Panzeratis and.
I know we're already thinking of the Thanksgiving food on the mind there.
What do you got?
Yeah, hurry this up. I'm hungry.
Big Trouble, which we might be in if we don't stop talking about food before I've had breakfast. Big Trouble, a Donnemeyer horse from the Greg Foley barn with Declan Cannon riding, who is 3 for his last 6 down there at Fairgrounds. This is a horse. All of her speed numbers are right up there with horses that would win this race on paper. She shipped to Kentucky the last 2 races, and it feels like then she had the same weather at Churchill on September 24th and at Keeneland on October the 19th that we've had here for the last 10, 12 days. It has rained every single day. It is so damp and gray and cold outside. I'm sick of it, so I can't wait to go travel this weekend for Thanksgiving. But both of those races came off the turf. That Keeneland race was actually sloppy. She didn't quite win that day, but she did win coming off of the turf at Churchill under Tyler Gaffleon. So I like seeing turf sprinters that can run when it scratches off of the turf. And then before those 2 races, she was running in stakes out at Fairgrounds in February and March of this year, including the Mardi Gras under Jareth Loveberry, and was just on the board in this one. So I'm hoping that she can improve just a little bit off of those 2 off-turf form races. We don't have prices just yet as we film this at 8 in the morning on Wednesday, but I'm counting on her to not be a super short price one and hopefully make a little extra money in addition to this being one of the Turkey Bowl races for me.
Well, I was wondering why, when I looked at this race originally, why the dam looked so familiar, and it's because I was looking at the dam last week to try to figure out if this one's brother, troubleshooting, younger brother, could get the distance at that mile and a 16th. Same connections, Donnemeyer Farm, homebred, different sires, but Big Trouble has been a turf sprinter. Hasn't won a ton of races. And now that I realize that this is a turf sprint, now I know why you pick Fairgrounds.
Yeah, duh. It's a turf sprint. I'm like a moth to a flame.
There, but the turf
I can't not bet them. I just can't.
How many turf sprints are there in the Turkey Bowl? Do you have any idea? Not many.
Not enough.
Yeah,
not enough. I had to make the list, and I was jonesing for more, but they're just I was 24.
All right. Well, on Saturday, there's plenty of other options in the Turkey Bowl. You've got the Gulfstream Park, the Florida Sires stakes races that Bailey mentioned, double duty. They're in both the Turkey Bowl and in the money back special offer and race of the week. So you want to check out Jeremy's article on both the First Bet and Xpressbet blogs. Then there's a couple of options at Laurel, which we're not going to get to, the Safely Kept and the City of Laurel. Is there a City of Laurel? Is Laurel in Laurel?
Laurel's the city, yeah.
Yeah, Laurel's the city.
Interesting. All right. And then on Sunday, which we very far, we're recording this on Wednesday, 8 a.m. Handicapping that far out is not anything that anyone here has done nor has expected to do, but I will have coverage of the Churchill Sunday. I'll have some spot plays for that card on the blog. That there likely is to be a pretty big mandatory payout in the pick 6 there. And then on Saturday, as part of one of those, I think one of the Florida Sire stakes is included in the mandatory Rainbow Pick 6, which will go on Saturday of the first Saturday of the championship meet. So it's Thanksgiving. You got a lot of family stuff going, but you've got a lot of horse racing to get to and good races. We've been kind of waiting for this week for a couple of weeks. Guys, I'll throw it to you to finish things off, but it's a great time of the year. I know you guys are Bailey, you're about to head out for a long adventure. JP, I think you're going to be manning up at home, but great holiday, Bailey.
Yeah, I certainly am thankful for both of you to get to talk about racing with my friends every week, even if it's not quite always on camera. So thank you, JP, so much for coming on the show. And thank you, Scott, for doing this with me for, gosh, a year and a half now. Like you said, getting ready for big travel day down to South Carolina. And I hope I can eat my body weight in dressing this weekend. That's what I'm looking forward to.
What are you doing, JP? Hanging home?
We'll be here, and then we have a family friend that we go to each year too as well. So we'll double up. We'll have Thanksgiving with them, and then on Friday we'll do it again here at our house. So we'll have back-to-back days of.
How many
big meal.
leftovers does that involve?
Yeah, there'll be quite a bit of leftovers. I'm not a big turkey fan though, so like I
No?
eat like the smallest amount of turkey to be polite, and then just overload on everything else. I'm like that bounce back horse that Bailey was talking about a little bit early. First course, I'm really big, and then I need a little setback, and then I
need
get
a break,
big
and then you're back up.
Yeah,
So
that's
don't
the way
bet
I'll
on
play it out the
Jeremy
weekend.
after a big effort. Give him time to rest and recover. All right. Well, on that note, I hope everybody has a fantastic Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week on Horse Sense. Of course, we'll get back to the winter. I guess we're kind of segueing into the winter. A lot of Gulfstream, Santa Anita on the horizon, lots of feeders and whatnot. But happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. We really appreciate you.
As always, thank you so much for watching another episode of Horse Sense, our special Thanksgiving episode. And we certainly are thankful for you for watching all of these videos week over week here as we talk about some horse racing and just want to continue to build that community. If you are playing in the Turkey Bowl contest this week or not, let me know. But let us know in the comments if you've got any extra picks in those races. Maybe we'll land on the same one there. Hopefully not for the contest's sake. But make sure that you're checking out the promotions page on Xpressbet and FirstBet to see that full list of everything that I mentioned back in the intro. And then if you're still watching, send me a picture of your Thanksgiving plate on your social media platform of choice. Tag me on X if you're on there @_BetBailey, because this is my Super Bowl is people's Thanksgiving food. I love seeing it because it's one of my favorite meals of the year, and hopefully it is for you too. If you're traveling, stay safe. If you're staying at home, have some fun, and we'll see you next time on Horse Sense.